Yeah, which ones you are right. Yes, and they said no, but they said they're very because they said everybody who voted, for instance, linked to me voted yes, and that's why it's only yes that is open.
This thing is for crazy.
Mm. No, she said for the four people that voted were all yes. So it's the number of shareholders she mentioned, not the votes. Okay, I understand.
That's for the code. Yeah, this one is
Okay. You have to guide against that. So what else?
the basis of those years. Attorney General decided on the show of hands. There's a sort of on the show of hands. That is what the shadow that was a key scripting the numbers of people to take something. That should be by the show of hands. Yes, yes, yes.
This is the latest statement.
And you can take your second line. No.
All right. Thank you. We're ready now.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Distinguished shareholders of Double One PLC, our regulators here present, SEC, NSE, our registrars, our auditors, the Corporate Affairs Commission, our auditors and distinguished directors of the company, distinguished members of our audit committee, respective shareholders who are joining us virtually. This is the first time we are having an annual general meeting with attendance by proxy. Because of the COVID-19 protocols and the restrictions associated therewith, we are unable to have a formal physical shareholders meeting or annual general meeting. And consequently, we got the approval of Corporate Affairs Commission to proceed with this meeting with attendance by proxy. We also have intimations to Securities and Exchange Commission and Nigerian Stock Exchange to proceed on the AGM by proxy. Unfortunately, the chairman of this company, Mr. Ramesh Kansagra, is in UK and is unable to attend the meeting physically. He has consequently suggested, and in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the directors present have chosen one of them to preside over the meeting as a chairman for the purposes of this AGM. I have the pleasure to announce to the shareholders that Alhaji Abdulkadir Aminu, an executive director of NIPCO PLC, the parent company of this company, and the non-executive director of Double One PLC have been chosen by the board to stand in as the chairman of this annual general meeting for the purposes of the deliberations today. I welcome Alhaji Abdulkadir Aminu, former president of IPMAN, to take his seat and to preside over the activities of this meeting.
Thank you. And good morning all.
I now invite the management of Transcorp Hilton to play the national anthem so that this meeting can commence in earnest. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the time is 11 a.m. presumably. Let us, okay, we have already risen up for the national anthem. The quorum required by Article 64 of the Company's Articles of Association is 3, subsection 3, members present in proxy or proxy. Can the registrars confirm that the quorum has been formed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members, and esteemed shareholders. We hereby confirm that 344 proxies and 6 shareholders representing 289,617,178 units of shares have been recorded as being present. Total attendance, therefore, is as follows: 344 proxies, 6 shareholders, 289,617,178 units of shares, representing 80.32% of the issued share capital of the company. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. This meeting is therefore duly convened and properly constituted accordingly. It gives me the great pleasure to welcome you all to the annual general meeting of our company, which I now declared open. I wish to inform you that this meeting is being held by proxy, further to the approval of the Corporate Affairs Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange. In addition, it is being streamed live for the benefit of our shareholders. Regulators and others who are not physically present, may I request Alhaji Tambari to say the opening prayers.
economy to return back as how it is. Also, I pray God Almighty to return us to our various destinations safely. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
Amen. There are 7 items of business before you today. You will all have an opportunity to move or to second each of the motions put to the meeting and to make contributions as you may wish. There will, therefore, thereafter, be an opportunity for questions on each motion before a vote is taken on it. Please ensure that you raise your hand and receive approval before you speak. Microphones and amplifying equipment have been placed strategically so that everyone should be able to hear. I will therefore request that you speak audibly and commence by stating your names. The Registrar of Directors, Shareholdings is available for inspection during this meeting in compliance with Section 275, subsection 8 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20 LFN 2004. Before we proceed to the more formal matters on the agenda, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you the directors of your company. I am Aminu Abdul Kadir. I am following the proceeding through the virtual platform. On my right is Mr. Tunji Oyebanji, the Managing Director of your company. On my extreme left is Chief Barrister Paul Obi, Non-Executive Director. And on my immediate left is the Company Secretary in the person of Mr. Chris Olumoyiwa Mesero. In view of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, some of our directors are joining the meeting virtually, while others are seated at the plenary. The directors are Mr. Ramesh Virwani, Senator Daniel Aloko. I would also like to recognize the presence at this meeting of the representatives of the Stock Exchange, Securities and Exchange Commission, Corporate Affairs Commission, external auditors, and the company's registrar. The Corporate Affairs Commission had informed us that they will not be able to join the meeting physically, but will join us virtually. I wish to also introduce the shareholders present who are acting as proxies for the shareholders that cannot be physically present due to the pandemic. They are Mr. Esen Ogule, Chief Timothy Adisayan, Mrs.
You muted draft. Draft for sign, you muted draft.
Okay. Mr. Raphael Osayeme, Mrs. Efonyemi Obidei, Mrs. Adebisi Bakari, and Alaji Kabiru A. Tambari.
That is Adetutu.
Okay. We have also Barrister Senebola Adetutuko.
Yes.
I now call on the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Notice is hereby given that the 42nd Annual General Meeting of the members of Double One PLC will be held at Transcorp Hilton, 1 Agui Irosi Street, Abuja, on Wednesday, October 14, 2020, at 11 a.m. to transact the following: ordinary business, to lay before the members the reports of the directors, the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019, together with the reports of the independent auditors and audit committee thereon. 2, to declare a dividend. 3, to ratify the appointment of Senator Daniel Olugbenga Aluko as an independent non-executive director. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 5, to elect members of the audit committee, special business. 6, to fix the remuneration of the directors. 7, to consider and pass the following as ordinary resolutions of the company. A, that the transfer of the real estate portfolio of Double One PLC to Double One Hospitality Limited, its only owned subsidiary, as recommended by the Board of Directors, to be here and to be approved. B, that subject to the applicable rules of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and subject to compliance with other statutory requirements, the shareholders hereby approve the voluntary delisting of the shares of Double One PLC from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Note A, proceed. In line with the guidelines of the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, on the conduct of the annual general meeting of public companies by PROSIS, the company has obtained the approval of Corporate Affairs Commission to hold the AGM with attendance by PROSIS. The number of attendants shall be limited to the maximum number of persons stipulated by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The proceedings of the annual general meeting shall be streamed live. Dated this 22nd day of February 2020 by order of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, our company. It is necessary to draw the attention of shareholders to the measures we have taken as a responsible corporate citizen due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. In compliance with federal government and Federal Capital Administrative Authority, the number of people present at this meeting is within the limit allowed. In addition, we have taken several precautionary steps, including the provision of sanitizers, masks, gloves at the venue, as well as the checking of temperatures and ensuring social distancing between attendees. Before we move to item 1 on the agenda, let me present to you the chairman's statement contained in page 7 and 8. Okay, thank you. With your kind permission, okay, it has been taken as read. Okay. With your kind permission, I also propose that the MD/CEO statement on pages 9 and 10 should be taken as read. Thank you. Thank you, distinguished shareholders. We will now move to item 1 on the agenda, as I am sure that you agree you have had the report and accounts for the period ended December 31st, 2019 for the required statutory period. I will now like to formally lay before the meeting the annual report and accounts, including the annual financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2019, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, and the audit committee thereof. I will now ask representative of the auditors to read the report of the auditors, which is in pages 23 and 24 of the annual report and accounts.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders. It's my pleasure to be in your midst today. My name is Uchenna Okibo, a partner with Grant Thornton, Nigeria. Our report is on pages 23 through to 25. With your kind permission, I will only be reading our opinion, the key audit matters paragraph, and the last paragraph. Thank you. Our opinion. We have audited the financial statement of Double One PLC, the company, which comprises the statement of financial position as at 31 December 2019, and the statement of profit or loss, statement of changes in equity, and statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statement, including a summary of significant accounting policy. In our opinion, the company financial statement present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the company as at 31 December 2019, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards. The Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act number 6, 2011, and the provision of the Companies and Arbitrage Act Cap C 20 LFN 2004. The key audit matters are those matters that in our professional judgment, we have most significance in our audit of the financial statement of the current year. We have communicated the key audit matters to those charged with governance. The key audit matters are not a comprehensive reflection of all matters discussed. These matters are addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statement as a whole and informing our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. We have determined the matters described below to be the key audit matters to be communicated in our report. For each matter below, our description of how our audit addressed the matter is provided in that context. We have fulfilled the responsibilities described in auditor's responsibility for the audit of financial statements section of our report, including in relation to these matters. Accordingly, our audits include the performance of procedures designed to respond to our assessment of the risks of material misstatement of the financial statements. The result of audit procedures, including the procedures performed to address the matters below, provide the basis of audit opinion on the accompanying financial statements. The key audit matter is on the right of use assets, which is an adoption of the IFRS 16 on leases. Double One PLC implemented IFRS 16 on leases as a first adoption, which took effect from January 1, 2019. Under IFRS 16, the standard allows the lessee to recognize the right of use assets and lease liability at date of commencement. The standard thus removes the distinction between the operating lease and finance leases as previously required under IX 17. With the only optional exemption being applied to certain short-term leases and lease of low value. The company recognized a carrying amount on ROU asset of 1.527 billion, which is leased on landed properties accounted for 100%, and no financial liability as at 31 December 2019, as the company pays the total lease amount on inception of the lease. We consider this a key audit matter given the significance of the amount and the judgment needed in establishing the underlying key assumptions. These assumptions and estimates include assessment of lease terms and determine the useful life of right of use assets. In evaluating the company's adoption of the standard, we reviewed management's impact assessment of adopting the new standard, evaluated and tested the design and operating effectiveness of the controls that management has established to identify contract that is or contain a lease, assessed the retrospective application and verified whether this is consistent with the definition and experience of IFRS 16. Consider completeness by reviewing key service contracts to assess whether they contain a lease under IFRS 16. We tested the basis of the initial and subsequent measurement of ROE assets and lease liability. We perform procedures to ensure that the practical expedient elected by the company were correctly implemented. Based on our procedures performed and our assessment of the disclosures made, we are satisfied that the disclosure of the expected impact of IFRS 16 is in accordance with the standard. The last paragraph is on report on other legal and regulatory requirements. The Companies and Other Matters Act, Cap C 20 LFN 2004 requires that in carrying out our audit, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We confirm that we have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, are necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the company, and the company's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed by myself, Uchenna Okiwo, on the 27th day of February 2020. Thank you, distinguished
Thank you,
shareholders.
Mr. Ochen. In accordance with the provision of Section 359, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, Cap C 20 LFN 2004, the Audit Committee duly carried out their duties as required on the accounts for the period ended 31st December 2019. I now ask the Chairman of the Audit Committee, Mr. S.N. Ogunleye, to read the Audit Committee's report, which is on page 26 of the annual report and accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to read the report of the Audit Committee to the members of 11 PLC. In compliance with Section 359, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20 LFN 2004, the committee reviewed the audited financial statements of the company for the year ended December 31, 2019, and report as follows. 1, the accounting and reporting policies of the company are consistent with the legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. 2, the scope and planning of the external audit was adequate. 3, the company maintained effective systems of accounting and internal control during the year. 4, having reviewed the external auditor's findings and recommendations, we are satisfied with the management responses thereon. S.N. Ogunleye, Chairman, Audit Committee. My other members of the Audit Committee are Barrister Adetitu Shinyambola, Mr. Ramesh Vawani, Mr. Raphael Osayeme, Alhaji Aminu Abdulkadir, and last but not the least, Mr. Paul Obi. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ogunleye. I'll be pleased to answer questions which you may have on the report and accounts before we proceed to the next item of business. Yes, Alhaji Tambari. Sorry.
Alhaji, you can move forward.
Microphone there.
Good morning, my colleague, my respected directors, they are present. Shareholders, live stream watching us, regulatory authorities. My name is Kabiru Etambari. I will just take my little question as brief since the situation we are facing. Under page 2, under notes, I think for spelling of nominated proxies, there is little error there. Under after proxy A, like you write nominated proxies.
Okay, that's it.
Noted.
Then I will quickly go to the attendance of our directors under page 17. I would like to use this opportunity as a shareholder of the company to commend our directors for a well attendance by compliance the corporate governance issue. I see they are compliant more 100% of attendance. I commend our directors for doing that, and I hope they will maintain it.
Thank you.
Also about the profits, I see our profit come down, but the dividends still maintain. You still try to pay us 8 naira 25 kobo. I commend our directors because this COVID-19 issue we are facing, a lot of challenges companies are facing, not only Double One PLC, but you still maintain our dividend status, try to pay good dividends to shareholders. I know a lot of companies cannot even afford to pay dividends, talk less of profit, because of the situation of the economy that is facing all over the world. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Alaji Tomba. Let me have Chief Additional now before we go to ladies. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman.
Morning, sir.
Members of the board of Double One PLC, regulatory authority representatives present, and of course, my fellow shareholders. I say good morning. I thank you. I thank the board, staff, and management of Double One PLC for the type of results we are considering today. We thank you for how far you have taken us. You are growing this company by the day, and you are not just relenting on income from fuel sales alone, but you are also going into other industries. For instance, you have gone into the business of hospitality by acquiring an hotel, Lagos Continental Hotel. You have also moved fast into aviation business. And within 1 year, you got in there, they are already playing the leadership role. We appreciate the integrity and the devotion of the board, staff, and management of Double One PLC. We also appreciate the strategies which are applying to grow this company. For instance, you have built a storage for NNPC, which the company is using to store petroleum products for the company, for the whole country. And at times when there are fuel scarcities, Mobile always come to our rescue. We appreciate you for this. We also appreciate the way you are growing the lubricants business, which is not regulated. We know the returns on per liter, on a liter of fuel is so minimal, and you can only drive the profit of the company through volume. But with the technical know-how you have been using, you are always moving ahead of all these problems. We appreciate the details of the agenda of this annual report, as enunciated in the company secretary's list as contained on page 2. And I would like to draw your attention to item number 6, special business, to fix the remuneration of the directors. And I'm asking now, how much is this remuneration? Which I like to know. Because we cannot just give you an open check. We want you to disclose this to us, and we know what we are approving. Then another prayer which you are making is for the transfer of the real estate portfolio of Double One PLC to Double One Hospitality Limited, its only owned subsidiary, as recommended by the board of directors. And I'm giving you the assurance of my fellow shareholders that which I approve this also. We know you have the know-how to manage all these businesses well. But what puts us in dilemma is the item of the listing, which is coming up also at this meeting, that the shareholders approve the listing of Double One PLC. Now that the company is doing well, why do you want to delist? Why do we want to delist? The excuses we've been receiving from other companies in the past has always been that because the business is no longer profitable, we don't want shareholders to suffer anymore. We want you to go and use your money to go and invest in other profitable business. But this is a profitable business as at now, and it has been like that. You are in the real business, real estate business, which you have started before your other competitors even know that it is a paying business. Why do you want to throw us out? Our inquiry tells us that you are not going to throw us out completely, but rather you want to go to NASD because of the cost of maintaining the company under the Nigerian Stock Exchange provide. But our fear is that companies that have adopted this kind of method before ended up paying us off. An example is Kappa and Dabato, Nigeria PLC, which delisted like that, went to NASD, and by the time they spent about 3 years, they said, oh, we are settled now. We can now pay you all your shares. They paid us off. And that's why we lost everything in Kappa and Dabato. It is not a crime, and we shareholders have developed strong hearts for this listing. But our fear is when a friend is delisting, why? People may die, but you don't want your friend to die. Double One PLC has been a friend of the Nigerian shareholders, and that we are planning to delist or throw us out now is still something that is giving us concerns. In fact, leaders are having sleepless thoughts over it because our members continue to ask, with the performance of this company, why are they throwing us out? The case of Coca-Cola is not an exception. The case of 7-Up is not an exception. These are companies that delisted, and eventually they started to grow the company and didn't make it available to shareholders anymore. The prayer of transferring the investments, the real estate investments, and that of the newly acquired hospitality business together, we appreciate, will give the company a bigger boost, but we want to stay with you to enjoy it. Don't throw us out. We are all brothers. Don't throw us out. Even if you ask us to pay more, we are ready to pay more. And I would also like to draw the attention of the shareholders, the board and management to the competence with which you have been managing this business, which gives us the confidence that our tomorrow will be better. So we want the company to please expatiate further on what you mean by this delisting and how you want to go about it. Since you are promising that we shall still be around to enjoy it, we want to know how you will throw water out with the baby inside it and still think the baby will be able to enjoy the parenthood, the parenting of the parents. Distinguished, so we also appreciate the contributions of this company over the years in the areas of good corporate governance. Your various board meetings are always well attended, and the audit committee is performing creditably and to our satisfaction. And it is our plan today, I'm speaking the mind of the shareholders that have sent us to represent them here, that we shall like to retain our current shareholders as members of our audit committee because they are performing to our satisfaction. The board has been, the board members have been attending the meetings regularly, as I earlier on said, and the growth which the company has been making over the years is an encouragement to all of us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board, and other representatives. The people who don't have the opportunity to attend, but who are watching us virtually, I also thank all of you for listening and for playing your part. Please help us talk to the board, management, and staff of Double One PLC that we love them, we still love them, and we don't want them to throw us out. Thank you. God bless you all. I'm Chief Timothy Adeshion, the former president of the Nigerian Shareholder Solidarity Association, which was formed by late Asiwaju Akintunde Asalu of blessed memory in 1985. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mrs. Bakari. We are now on ladies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, Regulatory Authorities here present this morning, shareholders joining officially, and shareholders here present. Good morning. I'm very short. Good morning. My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi Oluwayemisi. Mr. Chairman, before I start my comment this morning, I have two observations from the annual report and accounts. From this annual report, Mr. Chairman, I observed that the date some of our directors joined the board are missing from this annual report. We only disclosed the dates Senator Daniel Aluko joined the board. Others are missing. So I want us to look at it. That is on pages 12 and 13. Secondly, another thing that is missing from this annual report is our dividend history. For a company like Double One PSC, I think we should have our dividend history in future. Having said that, I will go straight to page 2 of the annual report and accounts. Though Shifa Deshinya have said a lot about that, that is on item 7B on voluntary delisting. But I just want to add one question to what he has said earlier. That is, what is going to be the protection of the minority shareholders after the voluntary delisting from Nigeria Stock Exchange? Having said that, I will go straight to page 5 of the annual report and accounts, where we have Double One PSC financial highlights. Of course, this year we are considering today, the results. It's not bad, but I believe there is still room for improvement. Looking at our revenue increased by 16%, so it's not that bad. The profit before taxation, though it declined by 4%, but it's still okay. The same thing for profit for the year, from 9.3 billion to 8.9 billion, declined by 5%. The same thing to our total comprehensive income, it declined by 5%. Earnings per share from 2,587 kobo to 2,464 kobo. It's not that bad also. And our capital expenditure moved from almost 3 billion to 18.3 billion. This is very good. And I give kudos to the board for that and management. This year we are very lucky that our year ended 31st December 2019, before the pandemic. Those companies that their year end either 31st March 2020 or 30th June 2020, they are not as lucky as we are. But having said that, Mr. Chairman, it's like the board is not, they are not fair to we shareholders. Reason being that if you look at our earnings per share, our earnings per share is 24 naira 64 kobo. And out of this 25 naira 64 kobo, you are giving shareholder 8 naira 25 kobo. This is not good enough. I think what should have been proper for a company, of course, like for year 2020, you might not expect much dividend. We will take it like that. But this year that we made huge profit and we have earnings per share of 24 naira 65 kobo, we should have enjoyed it together. So when the time now comes, we will also suffer it together. 8 naira 25 kobo is too small, Mr. Chairman, and I want the board to look at it. Having said that, I will go straight to page 61 to 20, page 16 to 21. That is under corporate governance reports. Mr. Chairman, Shifa Deshinya talked about this also on the attendance. But looking at this, we have only board committee attendance and statutory audit committee meetings attendance. What happened to other board committee meetings attendance? Does that mean we don't have board committees attendance, or the committee did not meet during the year under review? I think next time we should have attendance for other board committee meetings like remuneration, nominations and remuneration committee, finance, audit and risk committee, and so on. Next time, we should have their own attendance also, if there is any. Page 27. That is under statement of financial position. Mr. Chairman, looking at our current assets, under it is trade and other receivables. Our trade and other receivables moved from 11.5 billion to almost 14 billion, 13.9 billion. I think the board and management should look at this. We should find a way to reduce this in future also. The one that gives me concern most is under our current liabilities. That is trade and other payables. Our trade and other payables moved from 8.2 billion to 18.9 billion. I think board need to look at this. This is on the high side, and you need to look at it. Page 30. Under statement of cash flows, I saw something there that I need clarification. That is loss on sale of property, plant, and equipment, 35.6 million. Mr. Chairman, I would like to know the type of property we dispose that we incur loss of 35.5 million. I would like to know. Page 64. Note 21, unclaimed dividends and payments. Unclaimed dividends and payments. I would like to ask that what is the board and management doing to reduce double one PSC unclaimed dividend? For our unclaimed dividend to move from 1.386 billion to 1.553 billion. This is not good. Our unclaimed dividend, with the effort of SEC and the registrars, our unclaimed dividend should be reducing, not increasing. So I would like to know what the board, the step we are going to take with together with the registrar to further reduce this. Secondly, I would like to ask that now that we are delisting, voluntary delisting from stock exchange, Nigeria Stock Exchange, what happened to our unclaimed dividend? What happened to our unclaimed dividend? Because like Chief Adesina said, we don't know if you are just using style to do this. After 3 months, you are going. I just want to tell you that if you are going, please make sure you leave our unclaimed dividend with the registrar. We know what happened to 7up. When they are going, they go with our unclaimed dividend. It's the registrar shareholders who go and meet. They don't know the office of the new office of 7up. So we want you to leave our unclaimed dividend money with our registrar so that anytime our member needs their money, they can go to the registrar to claim their money. And I'm going to almost the end on this comment. I want to use this forum to also appeal to the federal government of Nigeria to provide equal platform for other oil and gas companies to compete effectively with the NNPC in terms of importation of products. We would like to appeal to the federal government for that. Again, the federal government should provide accessibility to official foreign exchange rates to oil and gas companies also. Lastly, I want to use this opportunity to really commend the federal government for the full deregulation of the downstream sector, which will provide, we promote every market competition. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. I wish everybody journey mercy back to our various destinations. God bless you all for the opportunity given.
Thank you, Mrs. Bakari. Yeah,
I have observation, Mr. Chairman.
okay.
Are you from CAC? Corporate Affairs Commission. Mr. Chairman, I have little observation.
Yes.
When you are introducing the regulatory authorities, I learned you mentioned Corporate Affairs Commission will watch us live stream. But later when you mention registrars, you mention CAC, I learned this lady stand up. So I want to ask, is she present? Is she representing CAC or what? That is what I want to ask, Mr. Chairman.
I think this question is directly to her. She is in a better position.
Yes, that is why I read that.
Good morning. I'm from Corporate Affairs Commission.
Thank you. So we are. Okay, it's all right, Mr. Paul.
Just for clarifications, I want to put it on record that because this meeting was to be held with attendance by proxy, we had to write Corporate Affairs Commission for their approval to hold the meeting and to send the representative as they normally do. The approval we got from CAC was to proceed with the meeting to hold by proxy and to pass the resolutions we highlighted to be passed at this meeting. And in the same approval, we were also informed that they may not be sending representatives to cover the meeting, but it is at their discretion that they may send or they may not send. So if they have sent, it is actually a bonus to them that despite their tight programs and schedules, they were still able to send someone to cover the meeting. We appreciate the Registrar General for sending you, Madam, and we are very happy to receive you. Thank you very much.
I hope we are all satisfied.
Yes. Yeah.
And I believe it's also a bonus to all of us. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my co-shareholder, the regulator authority present, the other shareholder watching at home. My name is Mrs. E.O. Obideri, National Coordinator of Ark of God Shareholder Association, Incorporated. Sir, I really appreciate the glossy paper you use. It has shown our annual report is like advertisement to people in the country. It has shown us what we are dealing with and how we are growing. So I appreciate you for that. In page 2 and 3, the agenda is what shareholder love so much. That is declaration of dividend. We shareholder will really appreciate it. During Mr. Okonkwo I'm talking about 28, 30 years ago, regime. I know this right issue was set for 850 then. Now that was when you are in Bookshop House, before they built this Marine and VI. Now we are collecting 825. That means we've taken our money, even profit. Then when I saw that, I now think, why are you people leaving us? After in my family, we are not only shareholders, we are stakeholders. We have a business name. Then when 111 was Mobi, we have a family name for distributor, and we still have our deposit there. So I was wondering, there's nobody in my family, even other extended family, that we have this stock. So when Baba was referring to some delisting, that is why I brought Mr. Okonkwo up when we purchased the right issue of that. When he left us, he moved to Little Road in Yaba. So those people that has been with us for a very long time will know this story I'm saying. So consider us and let's hear the feedback of what, don't let it be like others company they've mentioned. Because you know, when people, Yoruba people used to say, two children cannot play for a very long time, but that was then. No, two children can play for a very long time. It depends on your cooperation. Going to page 4, sir. The board of directors of 111 consists of 7, and they are doing well. We appreciate you for that. Page 5, you've shown us the indices, the highlights, and the results which we need as a shareholder. It contains in page 5. Page 7 and 8, that is chairman's statement. Chairman's statement, you have explained to us your achievement during 2019. And one of the achievements is the hotel, that's Intercontinental Hotel. You have moved it, you have changed it. That's my field. That's why I am appreciating the board. You have moved it. It is not easy to move an hotel from 5-star to 7-star hotel. You have done a great job. Mr. Senator Olugbenga Aluko, we really appreciate your presence in the board, and we believe you will move our company to a greater height in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yeah. We pray in future that what the board has done should continue, not when we are enjoying it, then you dismiss us. So we want a good result. You know, most of us that make comments are laying emphasis on that matter. It's a cogent matter. Sorry. Page 12. The company secretariat, you did not indicate the appointment of the board director. Please, next time you should do something about it. Page 23. I need to cut it short because most of my points has been earlier speaker said. The chairman, sir, the auditors, the key audits matter, they should please expatiate further in future so that we should know more about it. It is not other, it like towards the down of page 23. Somebody like me, if I don't use glasses, I will not be able to see it very well. So let's make it bold. I use this opportunity to appreciate our company secretary, even the company secretariat. There's no message or anything you want to know more about the company. If you give him a call, he will attend to the call. Even if he sees he miss your call, he will call you back and explain. He's a listening company secretary, and I pray God should reward him with a good and make our company to go more higher and higher.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, that's all.
So Thank you. First and foremost, among all these questions listed, there are quite a number of them, and notable is the director's remuneration, which I'm pleased to inform this House that we propose 500,000 for the non-executive directors, each, 500,000 each, and we have 5 non-executive directors. That is total of 2.5 million naira. And I would like to touch on the issue of delisting before I will seek your kind permission for the MD to expatiate on that and some of my colleagues here. Delisting, for sure, I will assure shareholders from my own understanding of this company, Double One PLC, our own concept, our own objective. We do not intend to push our shareholders out, but rather we create room for more shareholders to come in. You see, initially, when we were taking over the Mobile PLC as Double One PLC, there were lots of apprehension on what will become of Mobile after taking over. Today, all of us here and those watching us live, and indeed Nigerians, will definitely concur that we are better off than what we were yesterday. And I want to assure each and every one of us as shareholders that we do not intend to alienate anybody. We are all Nigerians, and NIPCO PLC, the parent company, is Nigerian company. And that is why you see the faces of people like Oyebanji still leading the ship. And we at the board level, we also have the opportunity to preside over such meeting. If we Nigerians are not critical stakeholders, if we are not the owners of this company, it will not happen. So I want to wait your own fears about sending earlier mentioned. And may I also seek your kind permission to allow the managing director to expatiate on the delisting and other questions that have been asked here. With your kind permission, I will ask the MD to please go ahead, except if you have any objection. No, go ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished shareholders, it is a pleasure and privilege to have the opportunity to address you this morning. I want to thank you all for the various questions that have been asked and for your continued interest in the company. On the issue of delisting, I think the chairman has really said it all. As you know, delisting does not mean we are throwing the baby away with the bath water. Definitely, your shares are still protected. It's just that they will no longer be traded on the floor of the stock exchange. Our expectation is that this will ultimately add much more value because it will give us the flexibility we need to take advantage of various opportunities for expansion, for collaboration that may come our way. As you know, the process of seeking approval for various opportunities that may come sometimes can be very long and tedious. And in such circumstances, sometimes those opportunities go away because you are not able to move very fast and very quickly. So I would like to join the chairman in assuring you that yes, the shares will not be traded on the stock exchange, but my expectation is that the value that is going to be added long term, and I think, like you all pointed out, investments we are making, the expectation is that the value that will be added to those shares long term will far outweigh anything that you may perceive as a disadvantage of being delisted. Paul, you want to add anything on that?
Well, just to add to what the MD has said, the fact that we are delisting does not necessarily mean that you'll be thrown out. It also does not necessarily mean that your share value will drop or will whittle down. As a matter of fact, it's going to improve significantly and impact positively on your share value, because if you eliminate some of the costs and regulatory charges and burdens that we have to go through, this will immediately translate to higher return on investment. Some of you who know the history of the parent company of Mobile or Double One PLC will know that NIPCO PLC is a public company and is not quoted. When NIPCO was incorporated in 2001, the share value was 1 naira. Following its successful private placement, the shares were sold at 10 naira. Today, the share value of NIPCO, which is not quoted, is 71 naira. NIPCO is quoted on the alternative stock exchange platform, which is the NASD. If Double One PLC is delisted from, the shares of Double One PLC is delisted from NASD platform, it will be quoted on NASD platform. That will insulate this company and the share prices of this company from the variations and volatility of the stock exchange prevarications, and will make it much more stable, much more stronger, much more value attractive, because the shareholders will be able to sell their shares when they want to sell it. They will be able to sell it at prices higher than what it is currently. And it will not be subjected to, today the stock exchange is crashing, tomorrow it is going up. It will be stable. There will be serious stability. So shareholders will be gaining on regular basis and will be able to trade. The shares will still be easily tradable. There will be no inhibitions. There will be no dilutions. There will be nothing to diminish the value of the shares of the shareholders of this company. So all of it will be a win-win situation for everybody. And we want you to see it from that positive perspective. I'm happy you appreciated the fact that the company, when NIPCO took over, sustained the dividend payout. It will only get better with better management, with better control, with better strength and stability on the share price. So you have nothing to lose, to fear about. You have nothing to worry about. It's good you raise your concerns, but we are addressing them. And be rest assured that it will be business as usual. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me touch on a few of the other questions that were raised. Chief Adesina, I want to thank you again for your continued support over the years. Let me talk a bit about the real estate portfolio. Really, that decision is all about focus. According to our people, a father and a son cannot have farms next to each other without demarcation. We need to have more focus on our real estate portfolio and put people in charge who are professionally competent in this area in order to extract as much value as possible. And making it a separate subsidiary will give us that opportunity. As you know, really the real estate is quite different from our normal petroleum marketing business. So we'll be able to focus more on the petroleum marketing business as well as focus more on the real estate business. Thank you for your comments about good corporate governance and the audit committee. Mrs. Bakari, your point on the date directors joined is well noted. I take responsibility, actually. It was in the draft. Obviously, in the process of translation, that thing got missing. So we will make sure that that doesn't happen. Also, your comment on dividend history is well taken. We'll take note of that for future. Financial highlights, thank you for your comments in those areas. Yes, I'm sure next annual report you will see reports on the attendance of other committees. You talked about trade and other receivables. That really had to do with the fact that our sales volume increased. As you noted yourself, revenue went up. So because of that, our trade receivables also went up significantly. But as we always say to you every year, most of that is backed up by bank guarantees. So whether for the fuels or lubricants, there are bank guarantees that support that increase. So I don't think there's much to worry about in that regard. Then in terms of trade and other payables, you also mentioned, these are actually due to product-related purchases that were made through our sister company in the UK. They paid on our behalf for certain transactions which we haven't paid for, but we will pay for. A lot of that has been due to the problems we get in Forex and all that. That has contributed to that issue. You talked about what assets were sold or written off, include a lot of things: generators, electronic panels, pumps that have become unserviceable. The thing, interestingly, about some of the retail outlets that we have is that the volumes that they pump are so much that sometimes pumps become obsolete very quickly because we pump so much volume. And also, like generators in Nigeria, because of the frequency of power breakage, a generator that somebody owns in the UK, for instance, maybe can last 25 years because the frequency of lights being taken is not as much as here. So those things become unserviceable, or the cost of maintaining them becomes so exorbitant that we have to dispose of them. You made a comment about access to Forex. I agree with you. We are working hard with the government and NNPC to try and improve access to Forex for oil marketers so that it will not be a case that only NNPC is the one importing. We are working very hard with government, putting a lot of pressure, and hopefully that will yield results very soon. Deregulation, I also join you in commending the government for taking that decision. Our organization that we are part of, Major Oil Marketers, played a very significant role in continuing to make requests on this for government, and hopefully this will be the herald of very good things for our petroleum marketing business. Mrs. Obide, thank you again for your support, and thank you for all the comments that you made. I believe I've answered some of them already with the answers. Yes, on dividend, first and foremost, I'm sure you all know the prevailing situation that we are in the country today. Yes, the results are for 2019, but the dividends is being paid in 2020. And this dividend we are paying represents about 33% of profit after tax, so which I think under the circumstances is still significant. But I think more importantly, you have all commended the great strides we have made in terms of investing. We have invested in new LPG tanks. We have invested in buying over a new hotel, which obviously when they start to yield dividends, they are helping to ensure that dividends will continue to flow well into the future, even when petrol starts to dwindle. You know, there's a lot of talk now about gas-driven cars and so on and so forth. So we are thinking of the future by investing in hospitality, by investing in gas. So if under those circumstances, we are making such investments and still able to, in spite of all these things, maintain the same level of dividend, I really think it's something that is commendable for us, and we'll try to do better in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr.
MP.
John. You can move on.
There are 7 agenda items to be deliberated on today. I hereby call a poll on items 1 to 4 and 6 to 7 on the agenda. Pursuant to Section 224, subsection 1, Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, therefore, voting for the resolutions in respect of each agenda item will be carried out electronically. Each shareholder has been given a voting device, and the results will be displayed online for all those attending virtually to view. Please note that as they are all ordinary resolutions, each resolution requires 51% of the total votes cast in order to be passed. I will now invite the registrars to provide an explanation about the electronic voting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll just run through the voting instructions. So an electronic device was issued to shareholders, specifically shareholders, and the pre-selected proxies. The device has been activated and is ready for use. We'll take it in this form. Once the resolution is announced by the chairman and he passes on the baton for us to conduct the poll, we'll commence the voting, and this will be announced on when to commence the voting. On the voting pad, 1 represents yes, 2 represents no, and 3 represents abstain. So if you are voting for a resolution, you press 1, which is yes. If you are voting against, it's no. If you are abstaining, it's 3. Voting for each resolution would commence and also ends, it commences and ends in 30 seconds, and it will be displayed on the board accordingly. Voting results will be displayed immediately each voting session ends. Unit holding indicated on the results slide is in shareholding percentage and unit holding. The voting devices have actually been programmed according to the mode in which your proxies have chosen to vote. And I guess that you were instructed by my colleague earlier on that. Thank you.
The first resolution is in respect of the declaration of a dividend. The Board of Directors has recommended that a dividend payment of 8.25 Naira per share, subject to withholding tax, be declared in respect of the year ended December 31st, 2019, and made payable by 15th October 2020. Would a shareholder kindly move a dividend of 8.25 Naira per share, subject to withholding tax, be declared in respect of the year ended December 31st, 2019?
I so move. My name is Mrs. E.O. Obidei. I so move.
Thank you. Would another shareholder please rise and second this motion? Yeah.
The chairman, I so second. I am Chief Timothy Adesina.
Thank you. I put the motion to a vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 1 to declare a dividend. Voting starts now. You have 30 seconds to vote, and we have started counting. You may please vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution to declare a dividend, we have 100% votes in favor of the resolution, represented in shareholding by 287,599,000 units of shares. Thank you.
Following the results of the voting as announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution to declare a dividend of 8.25 naira per share in respect of the period ended December 31st, 2019 has been passed. The next item is to take the resolution to rectify the appointment of Senator Daniel Olobenga Aluko as an independent non-executive director. In the course of the year, Senator Aluko was appointed as an independent non-executive director in compliance with Section 249 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, Cap C20 LFN 2004. The appointment is to be approved at this meeting. Would a shareholder kindly move that the appointment of Senator Benga Aluko as independent non-executive director be rectified, please? Alhaji Tambari.
My name is Alhaji Kabiru Tambari. I hereby move.
Thank you. Will another shareholder please raise his hand and second this motion? Yeah, Mrs. Bakari. Oh, sorry.
I so second, Mrs. C.O. Obideyi.
Okay, thank you. I now put the motion to vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2 to elect, ratify the appointment of Senator Daniel Olubenga Aluko as an independent non-executive director. Voting starts now. We have 30 seconds. We're counting already. Please vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution to elect, ratify the appointment of Senator Daniel Olubenga Aluko as an independent non-executive director, we have 100% votes in favor of the resolution, represented in shareholding by 287,599,000 units of shares. Thank you.
Thank you. Following the results of the voting as announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution to rectify the election of Senator Daniel Olubenga Aluko as an independent non-executive director of the company has been passed. Dear shareholders, I hereby present Senator Daniel Olubenga Aluko. Please join me in congratulating our newly appointed director while we wish him the best in the service of our company. Yes, next on the agenda is the remuneration of the auditors. Section 361, subsection 1B, subsection B of the Companies and Allied Matters Act requires that the remuneration should be fixed by the company at a general meeting or in such manner as the company in general meeting may determine. Would a shareholder kindly move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration and expenses of the auditors in respect of the year ending December 31st, 2020?
The chairman, I so move. My name is Chief Timothy Adeshiyon.
Would another shareholder please raise his hand and second this motion? Okay, Mrs. Bakari.
My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi. I second the motion.
I now put the motion to a vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 3, to authorize the directors to fix the auditor's remuneration. Voting starts now. We have 30 seconds. We're counting. We have one shareholder or proxy who is not voting. Please encourage you all to vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution to authorize the directors to fix the auditor's remuneration, we have 100% votes in favor of the resolution represented in shareholding by 289,617,000 units of shares. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. Following the results of the voting as announced by the Registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration and expenses of the auditors in respect of the year ending December 31st, 2020 has been passed. The next item on the agenda is the election of members of the Audit Committee. Section 359, subsection 4 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, CAP, C20, LFN 2004, provides that a maximum of 6 members of the Audit Committee consisting of 3 directors and 3 representatives of the shareholders be elected at an annual general meeting. The Act further provides that in the case of election of the shareholders' representatives, nominations should be received not later than 21 days before the date of the meeting. The Board of Directors have nominated the following 3 directors for election as members of the Audit Committee: Alhaji Aminu Abdul Kadir, Chief Paul Obi, Mr. Ramesh Virwani. Since the board has made valid nomination as required by Section 359, subsection 4, there is no need to vote on them. I thereby declare that the 3 directors are hereby appointed as members of the Audit Committee of Double One PLC. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 more seats to be filled in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act CAP C20 LFN 2004 on the Audit Committee. As for the shareholders' representatives, the Company Secretary has reported that pursuant to Section 359, subsection 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act CAP C20 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, valid nominations for elections to the Audit Committee had been received from 19 shareholders within the statutory time limit. 21 days before this annual general meeting, we are required to elect 3 shareholders in accordance with Section 359, subsection 4 of the Act. Since we have more than 3 valid nominations, we will proceed to voting to elect the 3 representatives. I invite the registrar to assist in counting of votes. Distinguished shareholders, you shall vote for candidates of your choice by a show of hands. Please keep your hands up until you have been counted. The registrar will count the vote afterwards. The chairman will announce the results for the elections as follows. Candidates vote scored. 1, Esan Ogule. 2, Raphael Oluwale Osayema.
One after the other.
Okay. Number 1 is Esan Ogule.
Is he here? If you are shareholder, you can vote.
Yes.
Have you counted it? We may proceed, Mr. Chairman.
How many?
We have 7 votes. We'll collate at the end and then it will be announced.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 2, Raphael Oluwale Osayeme.
We may proceed, Mr. Chairman.
It's more than
3 times. Yes.
Yeah, number 3 is
How many do you have? 10. Yes.
number 3 is G Adetutu Seobola. Paul. I say Paul. Paul. Okay.
We may proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Number 4, Adeshola Silip.
I don't know how we'll have 9. I think the process we have here.
We're counting you here, and then
The shareholders here are no more than 8.
there are some shareholders that are here, Lara, isn't it?
No, the shareholders are represented here by process. So they can't be more than
We
8.
have
8.
one person here. So how did you get 9? How did you get 9?
So you can't have 10 votes. You can't have 9 votes.
But why did you count him?
Please.
We're counting. We have 8. Sorry, my apologies.
It's okay.
Yes, we have 8. We may proceed.
This is 8.
So, yes, all of them is 8. Now, we are now on number 4.
Yes.
Adeshola Silimot Niola.
New.
Okay.
We may proceed.
Number 5, Laimbe Kasim Adewale.
2030.
Number 6, Laimbe Karimu Mopelola.
2030.
Number 7, Lawal Olua Hakim. Number 8, Otumolani Omotalani A.L. Muitat. Number 9, Victoria Joy. Number 10, Jimo Adumi Rashidat. 11, Ola Dotun Adisa. Number 13, Giwa Latif Abiodun. 14, Karim Oladimiji Olulade. 15, Lamina Sekiru Tayo. 17, Mudashiru Akambi Usman. 18, Kolowale Yekini Alabi. And 19, Tajuddin Chinibu. So we are now waiting for the registrar. Okay, all of them are added. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the following 3 representatives of the shareholders by reason of votes scored sorry, I have to get the paper to pronounce the names correctly. Yes, number 1, Esan Agule Scott Edward. Number 2, Raphael Oluwale Osaeme Edward. Number 3, G Adetutu Sinombola Edward. While the rest scored none. So now, yes. Now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the following 3 representatives of the shareholders by reason of votes scored is, yes, 1, Esan Ogule Edward. 2, Raphael Oluwale Osaeme Edward. 3, G Adetutu Senombola Edward. And the other listed representatives of directors, namely 1, Alhaji Amin Abdul Kadir, Chief Paul Obi, Mr. Ramesh Virwani, are hereby elected as members of the audit committee until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the remuneration of the directors. I hereby move that under Article 8(4) of the company's Articles of Association, the directors shall be entitled to such remuneration as shall from time to time be determined by the company in a general meeting. The provision is applicable only to the non-executive directors, as the executive directors are remunerated wholly by way of salary. I hereby move that the directors' remuneration for the year ending 31st December 2020 be and hereby fixed in the sum of 500,000 naira each for each of the non-executive director, totaling 2.5 million naira per annum. Would another shareholder please rise and second this motion?
I so second, Mr. Chairman. In view of the productivity we are enjoying from these erudite directors, I so second. My name is Chief Timothy Adesina.
Thank you. I now put the motion to a vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 5 to approve the director's remuneration. Voting starts now. 30 seconds and we're already counting. Please vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution to approve the director's remuneration, we have 100% votes in favor of the resolution, represented in shareholding by 289,616,000 shares. Thank you.
Thank you. Following the results of the voting as announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution that the directors should fix the remuneration for the directors for the year ending December 31st, 2020 has been passed. The next item on the agenda is the proposed resolution 7, subsection A, for the transfer of the real estate portfolio of W1 PLC to W1 Hospitality Limited, its wholly owned subsidiary. This is meant to engender a more efficient and profitable management of the real estate portfolio and enhance return on investment for our shareholders. Would a shareholder kindly move that the real estate portfolio of W1 PLC be and is hereby transferred to W1 Hospitality Limited as recommended by the Board of Directors? Yes, Mrs. Bakari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi. I second the motion.
Would another shareholder please?
Oh, I move.
Would another shareholder please raise and second this motion?
My name is Kabiru Etambari. I hereby second it.
Thank you. I now put the motion to a vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 6 to approve the transfer of the real estate portfolio of 11 PLC to 11 Hospitality Limited, its wholly owned subsidiary. Voting starts now. 30 seconds and counting. Please vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution, we have 100% votes in favor, represented in shareholding by 289,617,000 units of shares. Thank you.
Thank you. Following the results of the voting as announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution to authorize the transfer of the real estate portfolio of W1 PLC to W1 Hospitality Limited, its wholly owned subsidiary, has been carried. The final item on the agenda is the proposed resolution 7, subsection B, that subject to the applicable rules of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and subject to compliance with other statutory requirements, the shareholders hereby approve the voluntary delisting of the shares of W1 PLC from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Would a shareholder kindly move that the shareholders hereby approve the voluntary delisting of the shares of W1 PLC from the stock exchange? Yeah, Baba.
Thank you, sir.
The chairman, in view of the explanations which the erudite board has been able to provide to the satisfaction of shareholders representing the total majority of Nigerian shareholders here, I so move.
Thank you.
And excuse me, sir. And we want SEC and Nigerian Stock Exchange to please take the proper recording of the promises which our directors, men of integrity, have given us as our hope for approving this. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Will another shareholder please raise and second this motion?
I so second the
Thank you.
ECC Obide.
Thank you. I now put the motion to a vote. I hand over to the registrar to conduct the poll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 7, to approve the voluntary delisting of the company's shares from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Voting starts now. 30 seconds and already counting. Please vote. Voting has ended. On the resolution to approve the voluntary delisting of the company's shares from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, we have 100% votes in favor of the resolution, represented in shareholding by 287,599,000 shares. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. Following the results of the voting as announced by the Registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution by shareholders authorizing the voluntary delisting of the shares of W1 PLC from the Nigerian Stock Exchange is approved. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the agenda and would like to thank you on behalf of the board for your attendance at this meeting. We express our appreciation for your continued interest and support for our company over the years. I now declare the meeting closed.
Distinguished shareholders and guests,
Good to see you.
we have lunch immediately after this meeting at the Zuma restaurant at the ground floor. Lunch buffet for the guests and the shareholders. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, lunch is served at the Zuma restaurant for shareholders.